Hey there, Justice 3 Gaming. I am here bringing you my reaction to Strike Time number 12. This is going to be Bishop and Jubilee. Bishop takes Doom. I don't know exactly what that actually means, but I guess we're going to be finding out today. Hopefully, I already know everything about Jubilee so far in her kit, but it's time to see what Bishop is all about. And that should be up any minute, actually. It's 5 o'clock. Let's go. Damn, that's loud. I should get me one of these kinds of screens. Don't mind me just adjusting my sims for the covert ops when it resets. I use them to kind of take the military guys through. Oop, my phone. Well, that must be my blitz timer.
Greetings, Marvel Strike Force fans! I am Cerebro, your community manager, and welcome to your first community update of 2021. Now, there's a lot to be excited about in Marvel Strike Force this year, including these right here. These are exclusive enamel pins made in partnership with Marvel. You're going to have a lot of chances this year to win one of these pins. A lot of them will be given out right here on Strike Time, so make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of those opportunities. And be sure you watch the entire episode, because after the community update with Zeeks, I will be giving you information on how you can win one of these spiffy Legacy Orb pins. Now let's get to some news, and it begins with some doom without so much gloom. Dr. Doom has a new challenge looming on the horizon for all you strike commanders out there in the form of the Doom Raid. The new raid will put your entire roster and alliance to the test, requiring the traits of Bio, Skill, Tech, Mystic, and Mutant. You'll also face off against beefed up bosses in the Doom Raid, including some of them which will have ISO 8 enabled for an added challenge. For even more details on the Doom Raids, please head on over to our website, marvelstrikeforce.com, in the update section, and be sure to check out that blog entry. Nick Fury's legendary event, Chasing Fury, is coming back and about to have another run. As always, you'll need a Kree Minions team at a minimum of 5 stars each in order to unlock the Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've always wondered how Nick Fury has the time to fight all those bad guys, yet still write all those inbox messages. Maybe he's got a ghostwriter! On the Blitz front, you'll have the opportunity to bolster a classic team as well as build up a new one. First up is the Warrior King Blitz with Black Panther's royal character shards up for grabs. And hot on his figurative tail is the second run of Kitty Pryde's Blitz, Into the Shadow. And doesn't she have the coolest pal ever?
Bishop's
Man, what I wouldn't give to have a real-life Lockheed to hang out with. I bet with that fire breath, we would share an affinity for hot sauce. And double your fun without a stick of gum. Really? With a bunch of bonus events that are sure to line your pockets with character shards. Prepare for the Mighty Phoenix's return in the Malicious Manipulators event, where you will have the opportunity to earn 2 times character shards for Villain Mystic Controllers. Also heading your way is the Calling All Agents event, which will allow you to earn double the shards for most shield characters. It'll be a real shield shard celebration, and say that 5 times fast. And rounding out the double rewards is the Bad Science event, where you can make your AIM team come alive with double character shards. I swear, whenever I play with my AIM team, all I can think about is the fact that AIM Assaulter has a passive ability that's called Juicer. It immediately makes me want a smoothie.
Yeah, right.
You guys watch the interview. I'll be back in a bit. All right, guys, I am super happy to have back with us on the show Mr. Todd Owens, Senior Designer with the Combat Pod. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
All right, so we are here today to talk about mutants. Mutants are a very popular faction within the Marvel Universe and with our players. So first, I think I'd just kind of like to ask you, how does the combat design team kind of sift through that mountain of requested characters? Like, the requested number of mutants has to be like 100 long. How do you guys even possibly go through all that?
Well, it's a long process. It's not an easy thing to do. We have a lot of sources that we go back and
you want to
through.
stay with the popular stuff that's going on right now.
We have a survey response from players about the characters that they like, the characters that they're interested in, and so from that we have a list of the most desired characters, most wanted characters. We take a look at all the Marvel lore and the comic books and the movies and the old cartoons and the new cartoons and the TV shows that are coming out, and choose from those.
Oh, okay, there we go.
And then we have things
I take back what I said.
We evaluate, do we need new legendary characters? Are we upgrading old teams in order to bring them up to closer to the meta? Are we looking to bring in brand new characters? And all those things roll together. And then the last thing is that we want the game to last for a good long time. People are playing it and we want to keep them excited about it.
Bring it to PC.
We're rolling out those characters.
Bring it to PC.
In a pace that allows us to make the best game we can right now and keep having those characters to roll out to bring them in for later on as well.
Basically kind of how I respond now, usually to players when they say, hey, when's my favorite, name here? When's my favorite mutant going to come to the game? I basically now just say, eventually. I mean, is that a safe thing to say?
That's a very safe thing to say.
Okay, so we have already disclosed 4 members of the Astonishing X-Men team, and you are here today to talk about the 5th member. Would you care to do the honors for us?
Sure. Bishop is going to be joining the team as the 5th member for the Astonishing X-Men.
Awesome.
He looks good. Very classic look, too, but his haircut's
players out
really
there
nice.
that might not be familiar with Bishop, for the 2 out there, could you please give us a little bit of backstory into his character and how he fits in?
Sure. So Bishop is a character that premiered in Uncanny X-Men all the way back in 1991. He's a mutant that was born in a kind of dystopic future. And the M brand that's on his eye is a branding for all mutants from his time period, from when he was in a camp. And then when he grew up, he joined the XSE, which is, I think, Xavier Security Enforcers, which was like a police type force in his time period. And while he was chasing a bad guy, he ended up following that guy through time and came back to the present, where he joined the X-Men. And now he works with the X-Men to kind of try to make sure that his future either doesn't come into existence or at least is much better than what he remembered when he was a kid.
Now that we've got a bit of history on the character himself, mechanically, how does he fit in with the rest of the team, the Astonishing X-Men?
Sure. Bishop is a powerful mutant blaster. He's a real heavy hitter. He's capable of burning down enemy teams. He has a great uncounterable basic, and his special and ultimates are huge hits that cycle up really fast. In fact, they're some of the lowest energy specials and ultimates that we have for characters in the game right now. More than just a damage dealer, though, he kind of acts as a bit of a protector in that whenever his turn is up, if he's in good health, then he gives himself taunt and defense up so that he can charge himself back up and be ready to use his powers the next time his turn comes around. He can only ever have 1 charge maximum, but he gets a charge whenever he takes a hit. So as soon as he's hit, then he charges up. And since his ultimate cycles, it's only a 2 energy. So he's going to shoot it. He's going to take 1 hit. And so as long as you keep him taking hits, which is what the taunt does for him, he's almost always going to have the charge.
So
and
like
that
400 damage. The other one here, the ultimate is
So what are we thinking about
40.
ISO 8 for him? Possibly Fortifier, so that way he can keep taking those hits?
So I like Striker for a couple of reasons. One is that he's such a big hitter. It's nice to have that extra secondary hit whenever somebody has vulnerable up. But his basic, which is what the ISO bonus attack is based on.
All right, so one of the questions we always get when we talk about characters is speed, right? Is he going to go first in the rotation, last, somewhere in the middle?
Well, Beast is going to be the fastest person on the.
He's going to gain a counter with that attack.
But Iceman and Bishop have the same speed, and so it's really going to be a toss-up of which one the computer picks to go first.
So he's going to get a counter every time he hits.
With our game is if 2 people are at the exact same speed, then it just picks the one that's there.
Let's talk about Jubilee. We've announced her before, but today we are announcing her full kit. Now, before we actually jump into her kit, really quickly, could you guys give us a little bit of perspective into like the philosophy of the design team, like how we pick legendaries, how we are thinking about how they're going to work with a team, all that fun stuff?
Sure. So for Marvel Strike Force, the legendary trait is not really a pure power scale trait. What we're looking at is a trait for characters that define
40% damage.
Team members for their team. They're the ones that tie the team's power together. They're the ones that make them really function really well as a whole, that make them shine in the goals that we set for the team to really put them on the top. They're the team's linchpin. They're the team's linchpin with really good stats and fun abilities.
Gotcha.
Slow to everybody. That's going to help with Iceman.
That we feel represents a key aspect for the team.
So, all enemies. I mean, that's a little bit
like
much,
Shuri,
you know? I mean,
without her tech,
Kitty Pryde
wouldn't really be what they are.
Right.
Fury isn't the most powerful person in the entire Marvel universe, but he is kind of the leader of leaders. He's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Jubilee, very similar to the Invisible Woman, she acts as a moral compass. She acts as a heart for the team. She provides the glue between the older and the younger generations to keep the X-Men focused and together. She's actually led some teams of X-Men previously.
Wow, blind on her
ultimately,
basic.
When her mutant ability is at its maximum, she is a very powerful mutant.
So once the team establishes that Jubilee is going to be the legendary, what are some things that you guys automatically have to start thinking about when designing the character?
That's okay.
So once we decide on who the character is going to be, on who the legendary is going to be, we take a look at some. I mean, there's the boring stuff of we want legendary characters to be one of our top of the line as far as stats go. We want their abilities to be something that every time you press a button, it feels impactful. Then, no matter whether the character is a legendary or not, what we're looking for are what are those iconic things about the character from the movies that you saw in the comic books, that you see when they're used in TV shows. What is it that people expect to see from those characters and are going to do? And then once we find those things,
you could have gave her a combat design
into the right places. So for something like Jubilee, anytime you see her, anytime you've seen her in the comics, in the games, in anywhere, blind is something that she does. She has to be able to blind.
Right.
Well, what makes blind legendary? Now, blind on a basic, that's not something we've done a lot, and it's something really powerful and really good. So that's a great place to put that. She often uses her fireworks to kind of ID people to shoot, or a direction to go, or a place to move. Well, that's a great way to highlight things, and so that becomes her special. What's the best way to use that? Well, let's have the entire team follow up on an attack by having her light up one person first. And then for the other big thing for Jubilee is fireworks. So she's got to have a giant firework display in her attack, and a good way to do that is a big attack at the very end for her ultimate, where she just blows up the whole team with a great big beautiful fireworks display.
So looking at the
unavoidable
kits
and
talking about them, we've kind of established that this is going to be a good
that's good for
team.
War.
And also, one of the things that we announced today are the upcoming Doom raids.
Here we go.
I don't think it's a coincidence that we kind of are marrying both of these announcements together, right?
No, the Astonishing X-Men team were designed to be a great raids team, the best raids team that we've got. So whether you're taking them through the Ultimates raids or our Greek raids or the new Doom raids, they will be a good team to have.
Yeah, you guys make sure,
Damn,
if you haven't
that
already
is
checked out
fucking
today's
cheap.
blog, if you're watching
Did you
this just
see
the video,
that kit?
please go check out the blog. We'll put the link in the description of that, and we'll have a lot more details
I mean,
on the Doom raids there.
Like, how much was it?
And specifically, there are nodes in there that are just for mutants,
like
if I remember correctly,
that's like
right? And that's where they're going to be
prices.
especially useful.
That's what they'll feel especially good on those.
So we talked a little bit about ISO 8 on Bishop. Any ISO 8s you're kind of feeling are going to be particularly powerful on Jubilee?
I like her as a skirmisher.
Okay, skirmisher.
So one of the things
you
that
can
she
get that
has
blind
in her passive
going.
is on every Astonishing X-Men's turn or Wolverine, she's going to give assist now to somebody. So she's going to have assist a lot of times, which allows her to potentially be placing that vulnerable out on a lot of people in order to help, particularly Bishop, get those second shots off and clear the counters in any enemy that might have. So I really like that on her. Now, she does have a pretty high focus, and her basic does place that blind. So if you put a striker on her and she got a second attack, then she could be blinding on her ISO bonus attacks as well, which is another really good way to go to keep the enemy team from being active and effective.
So continuing in the tradition of our game, where we've got some really good duos.
Yeah, because
if
you use her special
Jubilee. I
or
hear they're
her
gonna be a good
ultimate
duo.
on somebody with a vulnerable,
Bishop and Jubilee
should be
will
able
work
to
very, very
blind
well
them.
together.
I
Bishop's
like
mutant
that.
power is the
I like
ability
that.
to absorb energy, and and Jubilee's power is to kind of shoot off these fireworks and things. So on Bishop's special, if he's there with Jubilee as an ally, then right before he fires off, instead of just shooting his beams, she powers him up, and then his attack now becomes offense up. It does extra damage, and it becomes unavoidable, and it always crits. So it's a big, big hit. It's
Unless
really
there's a
nice
deflect out there.
And then to kind of say thank you to Jubilee for that, then at the end, he gives her offense up and defense up at the end of that turn.
All right, and finally, the big question. This is the question that I've seen pop up a few times. Is actually about Iceman. And it's about his pants. People have questions about his pants. Now, I'll set the stage. I remember, Iceman from the 90s. One of my favorite video games ever is X-Men Children of the Atom. I remember him he's totally iced over, right? He's probably wearing pants, you just can't tell. But, we chose to portray him with pants. Burning question. Do we have any details on our decision to have him not be fully naked?
Well, we are a 12 plus rated game, so we figured everybody in the game should be, wearing clothes. Now, that doesn't include Ultron and Groot, but we figured it was best.
Yeah.
No, we put him in pants because we wanted to make sure that he has a distinct silhouette that could be easily identified versus any other character that is ice or diamond or snow or mirror that is coming out in the future, or folks that we already have out. So it gives him a very clear look. If right now, if you see somebody that's the top half is very sparkly and crystal, then if they're wearing white, it's Emma. If they're wearing black pants, it's Iceman. And so in the future, it's a way to make our characters really stand out from each other. Even
I'll buy that.
More recent versions of Iceman have him wearing pants, right? This is more of what we would call a modern look for him, in reference to the comics anyway.
Yeah, so in some of the we do have some of the references we
panel.
pulled for comics that are more recent where he is wearing the pants, and so it's not just us deciding that he needs to
I think I would have liked that
pants on, but
that bodysuit.
Yeah, ultimately those decisions, all of our characters are the MSF version of our characters. And so there are reasons that we do it for the game. There are reasons that we want to tie into just the rest of the Marvel Universe. And so both to help our game and also what makes sense in what we see in some of the more modern comics is he's got pants on. So for our game, he's got pants.
All right, Todd, thank you so much for
for
coming by and letting us know about the Astonishing X-Men team. Both of the events for Bishop and Jubilee are coming up pretty soon, right? I think around February?
Yeah, it should be out right about then.
Right about February-ish. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you.
February.
Hello, Zeke's here, your friendly neighborhood community specialist, and you all know what time it is, the community spotlight time.
No, I'm not doing that. Sorry. I suppose that was nice. Let's discuss it. I was reading through Bishop's kit while I was listening to them ramble on, and honestly, you could do without the strike time. Unless you're interested in hearing some behind the scenes stuff, because they publish, on their website, the Marvel Strike Force website, you can just always check out their kits. They must have published this right as they were starting strike time. So I do like. I mean, when he said that that Bishop's attacks were super super cheap, he wasn't kidding. I mean, you're talking 3 out of 3 right here on his special, and 2 for the ultimate. 2. I mean, that's a really weird reversal of how some of this stuff even costs. I mean, the 3 out of 3 is definitely offset just enough so that you could work it with this ultimate pretty well. And so where does the taunt come in again? Anytime he gets hit? Is that passive? Game regeneration, clear charged, on spawn, if charged. So he must come charged. But this is something that's specific, like, I don't know, for some reason that you have some kind of regeneration on him. Not regeneration, like in some of the other raids, if you got somebody that can resurrect him, he'll get that on spawn. On spawn, gain taunt, and defense up. Alright, so in the beginning of the fight, he immediately is targetable. So he's going to protect the rest of the group. He's a blaster, but he's protecting. See, if he's considered a blaster, I could use him in the challenges. Man, is Beast even I don't think even Beast is even farmable right now. No, you gotta get him on other premiums. Damn. Hopefully this month they put him somewhere. Probably raids. Or blitz. On attacked, gain charge, fill speed bar, then clear taunt. Okay. Attacked, that's when he gets hit. So he can only take 1 hit at a time. I suppose, that kind of makes sense since you want it to come off. And then you got the actual protector of the group, Kitty Pryde, doing her thing with her kit. At the end of this character's turn, this character's health is greater than 80%, gain taunt. So if he's healthy, which he very well should be because there's healing everywhere, from Kitty Pryde to Beast to Jubilee, it makes me wonder about my choices of ISO 8s. I'm thinking, normally when I'm not that familiar with any characters, I'm going to go, especially if they're raid, I'm going to go with the healer class. It's always like a good default. And, it's only going to cost just, save up the ISOs or the ions a little bit if I actually find a really good use for a different ISO 8 like Striker or Skirmisher, just like I did with the symbiotes. So if he's healthy, he's going to gain taunt. Might be a good idea to actually give Bishop that class 5 healer class. I mean, I'm going to start off by giving everybody that healer class until I get more familiar on their turn orders and how their abilities actually work. You get defense up to a max of 3. So pretty much he's going to get a defense up quite often. 100% chance to counterattack. Really? So he's going to counterattack anytime he takes a hit while he has that taunt. And if he has a striker, he steals counters. He's going to get counter. But if he has a 100% counter to attack while he has taunt, what's the point? It's better probably to have him with the healer class because he's going to gain taunt every single turn that comes around. In raids, when Astonishing X-Men ally drops below 50% health, gain taunt and defense up. He's always going to have taunt and defense up with that taunt. He's going to gain even more damage during raids. Jeez, man, can you imagine Bishop with anything higher than 4 red stars on him? I mean, Jesus Christ. This is going to be a pretty tough team. I mean, that Doom raid has got to be pretty awesome. I mean, it's got to be pretty tough. This is what I really meant to say. Okay, let's check out Jubilee real quick. See how this is going to work out. I mean, a lot of speed is coming in, along with damage for herself and the Astonishing X-Men ally. So that's a ton of damage, especially considering the fact that Iceman is going to be lowering any character's damage, but also be doing more damage on top of that based on their slow status. And she's going to be giving out even more health for herself and Astonishing X-Men allies. I'm a little I'm going to be completely honest here. With so much HP flying around for the raids, it's hard to not justify giving everyone class 5 healer class. It's like, I think your only enemy, honestly, for this team is going to be the clock. You know, how are you going to beat the clock? Reducing speed bar 25% and apply stun. And you get the stun from the ultimate. You've got a blind on her basic. Skirmisher, I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think having that healer class, I mean, healing might be over the top for this team in raids, but you never know how that's going to play out until you get there. Like, I thought with the symbiotes that they were just going to be unstoppable with, you know, just their kits being, you know, healing basically every single time a negative status goes out, and that's all that they do practically. And, you know, once you get up to around the higher nodes, like in 7.5 or Ultimate 7, they're taking some pretty hefty hits, and you have to make those adjustments with your ISO 8s. Wow, there's a ton of damage flying around here also. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 4. There's a 1-point difference in her kit, just like Bishop's. So they're meant to be together. I have to take a look at their speeds to really see that. But Jesus, like this special's pretty nasty right here. I mean, you're talking offense up to everybody, landing a 300% damage, but you're talking 50% damage from all the other X-Men. And this one's legend. This is what really makes her legendary right here, is this 2 random, non-summoned, non-astonishing X-Men allies. I mean, what's the point in putting that there, though? It must be the difference between top level and the one just below it in her kit. But that does make her very useful outside of the X-Men. So you're talking probably like milestones, probably Blitz. Well, Blitz, more than likely, you're going to keep these guys together anyways. But more than that, War. I mean, they're not getting like any bonuses towards like War or anything. So you know, it's probably going to be best to just keep these guys on attack. On kill, spread 3 negative effects from the primary target to all other enemies. That's really good if you can get her blind to pop off. Ooh, blind, offense down, and slow are going to be consistent parts of this team's kit. 70% chance to apply blind is still pretty high outside of raids. Apply offense down for 2 turns to all enemies. That's great. I mean, that's just outside of what Kitty Pryde's kit does, you know, for her special. Lockheed, that hits pretty decent. I mean, it doesn't look like it at 280%, but that's actually pretty decent. Then you're going to get the 2 turns of offense down. Flipping a taunt to defense down. Of the characters on here, she's the one you would most likely probably put Skirmisher on because of that flip the taunt. Some characters like Juggernaut are going to be extremely tough to flip. And getting that extra 50% would almost be necessary. I'll have to see how her focus stacks up. If any character has taunt, I mean, she's getting speed bar also. I mean, that's pretty crazy. This tech thing, this makes me wonder. Some of the nodes in the raid, the Doom raid. Well, there you have it, guys. This is my first attempt at streaming a strike time with you guys and give you my thoughts on the kits for this team. I really like them in raids. I recently have been able to do some higher level nodes on some of the Greek raids like the X-Men ones or the global ones, and can very, 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 very much see how useful this team is going to be to getting 100% for most alliances in those raids for that difficulty selector. So I do highly recommend picking up this team. They're going to be a great global team to have for those raids. And please give us a follow on Twitch or a subscribe on YouTube. And thank you again for